What is your name and what mental disorder did you have?
My name is Robert Crabtree, and when I was 6 years old, I was diagnosed with acute post-infectious encephalitis, which left me with severe separation anxiety. Before I got diagnosed with encephalitis, I was an everyday normal kid. I had two older brothers, lived a normal life, and then I remember one day, it was close to winter, I got a really bad fever for about a week, and it was like over 102 degrees, and I was just out of school sick for about a whole week. And when it came time to go back to school, I was unable to really get back into the swing of things. It's kind of like when a parent drops their 2-year-old off of preschool and the child goes kicking and screaming. It was kind of that, but I was 6 years old, and that shouldn't have been happening. And I just remember being terrified because I wasn't in control of my actions. I was just scared. I didn't know what was happening. And I really just couldn't function in normal everyday life. I'd say my worst day dealing with the disorder was kind of closer to the beginning. This is before I was actually truly diagnosed. My parents weren't too sure what was wrong with me. They just knew I had to get in for an MRI. But in order to do that, they had to leave me at a behavioral health center, which is kind of a nice term for a mental hospital. And I remember looking back, it's probably my darkest time, because all I remember as a 6-year-old was my parents were leaving me at this facility. And in my mind, going through that, I thought that they were kind of just giving up on me, that I was a lost cause. So that night, I remember not getting any sleep, and I was, kind of rocking back and forth. And it's definitely one of the darkest periods of my life. So the next few years of my life, it was really a battle trying to, control my emotions and control and kind of rationalize, I shouldn't be feeling this way. There's no reason to be anxious about anything. And I know it caused a lot of stress on my parents because, they're both working full-time jobs. it being a separation anxiety with my mother, I put a huge load on her to where she couldn't really work full time. She had to be home with me. She always felt that, she had to be ready at the drop of a hat to be there for me. And, it was hugely stressful for her. She was working full time in the ER. Looking back, I wish she would have had it easier. And I wish I would have had more control over the situation because I knew it took a huge toll on her. We would try so many different things every day. I remember in 4th grade, I had a tape recorder that my mom would leave a message every morning. And whenever I felt that, I was about to have an anxiety attack or that I was really missing her that day, I would go into the bathroom and I would listen to that. And that would help, but it was just different things you had to do, every day that normal kids don't have to go through and shouldn't have to go through. And it was definitely tough. Growing up and throughout elementary school, kind of dealing with this issue, most of the kids didn't understand it. I mean, there were several days where I'd be, rocking back and forth, crying in my chair. My teachers would let me sit under their desk. And so most kids didn't understand it. I was kind of looked at as, the weird kid. So luckily I was set up with some great doctors, great psychiatrists that, really were able to pinpoint the right path for me to take. But honestly, I still think a lot of it had to do with God. I mean, I knew my parents were praying. I knew my mom was praying every night and every day for me to, get over this. Because there were times that, they weren't sure if I would ever really function as as an adult. And here I am now about to graduate college, and I know that God has worked in my life. It was around middle school that I really became, aware that, this isn't going to be me forever, that I'm going to come through this. And so I can't remember a specific day, but I know that middle school was when it started to turn around.